The Ole Miss Rebels have all of the recruiting momentum right now.
You are Locked On Ole Miss, your daily podcast on the Ole Miss Rebels. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome to the Locked On Ole Miss podcast, the most watched Ole Miss podcast around. I'm your host, Steven Willis, a 10-year veteran member of the national media with Yahoo Sports and a former Ole Miss staff member as well. On today's show, we talk about how Ole Miss and John Garrison, they have a very big year in front of them in 2025 because they absolutely have to fix the running game. We'll run through the top 5 most important offensive linemen and add a few honorable mentions as well. But first, we kick things off with another huge commitment. This time, Iverson McCoy is in. Star ranking or not, Lane Kiffin's team just got a whole lot better. And with a potential 4th of July commitment on deck, this Ole Miss recruiting heater is starting to take off. We're free and available on all the podcast apps and on YouTube. Thank you for making Locked On Ole Miss your first listen every day. And a special hello to the everydayers who make the show what it is. Do us a favor. Like, subscribe, and comment on the video. It costs nothing but keeps this website free. And don't forget to check out a second listen on the network. Nearly every team, college or pro, is ready for you. Today's episode is brought to you by Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use the code LOCKEDONCollege, all one word, for $20 off your first purchase. Ole Miss got a commitment from Iverson McCoy, a Tupelo cornerback. Jumped in the boat with Ole Miss. Now, Iverson McCoy is a good player, honestly, whenever you look at what's going on. The biggest problem that Iverson McCoy has is he has a 5 next to his height as opposed to a 6. If he had a 6, he'd be much higher rated, especially with the ball skills, the flipping of the hips, the tools that he has at his disposal. He makes it a problem for the receiver on the other side of the field. Iverson McCoy is a 3-star ranked on every single service. Like I said, if he had a 6 by his name as opposed to a 5, he'd be much higher recruited and much higherly rated. He is a 3-star player, 475 player nationally, 46 cornerback nationally. He's the number 17 player in the state of Mississippi. And when you look at what Iverson McCoy can do, his ball skills is what separates him from the other players. He is the reason that you get excited signing a cornerback at that height. Like I said, he's not 6'3", 6'4" like Mason Dunn, the kid from Tupelo that already signed with Ole Miss. He's not as tall as maybe you'd like, but Ole Miss has had a history of being able to get the best out of players like this. And Tupelo is known for being dogs defensively. They make the other team work for everything they get. And Ole Miss has been recruiting at the safety and cornerback position from Tupelo High School pretty consistently for the last 3 years. They signed Mason Dunn a year ago. Shamar Darden's on campus as well. There's 2 commitments this year. The Tupelo secondary is very well represented. And Tupelo, en route to a 7A, I think that's what it is now in Mississippi, a 7A state championship. They rode the defense to get there. They ran the ball a little bit, but they mainly rode the defense to win the state championship in Mississippi. Now, I am not a big fan of the blue field. They do the blue field thing, the blue turf, and this is the 2nd or 3rd incarnation of that blue turf. I'm not a huge fan. They're the Tupelo Golden Wave. But Ole Miss used to have a lot of trouble recruiting Tupelo. Tupelo was a problem spot to where there was good players. There's players that you'd want to recruit that you just couldn't get in. If you looked at the star players, they always seemed to go either out of state or to Mississippi State. As it sits right now, Tupelo is kind of an Ole Miss school. If you look at its totality, it's kind of an Ole Miss school as far as players coming over to play college football. This is another example of making your team better through high school recruiting because he is going to develop. Iverson McCoy is absolutely going to develop. Once Brian Brown once Pete Golding, once everybody get their hands on him, he is going to turn into being a dog on the back end of that defense. He's not going to ever be the 6'4" Mason Dunn at cornerback. That's not the type of cornerback that he is. He is the cornerback that is just a pest. He is the one that you can't out-athlete. He is the one that has the ball skills for when the quarterback makes a mistake, that makes him a target of the fear of the other team because of what he can do. You know that you have to pack a lunch pail when you go after this guy. And if you do that, you kind of take it at your own risk as well. Now, today's the 4th of July, which I am on the road, so there won't be a live stream a little bit later on today if Xavier McDonald commits to Ole Miss. We will do a reaction video potentially Monday or something like that. But if he commits on the 4th of July, I will be on the road and I won't be able to do anything with that. Xavier McDonald is a really good player. We saw him at the Under Armour All-American Bowl down in Orlando as a junior. The one word that could be used to describe him is explosive. The other word that would be used to describe him is light. He needs a training table when he gets to the college landscape. You look at the consensus, he is number 114. He is the number 18 wide receiver in the country. He is the number 8 wide receiver in the number 8 player in the state of Mississippi. Sorry about that. He is rated as a 4-star on every single site. And with a high of ESPN, has him as the number 58 player in the country. Everybody likes to make fun of ESPN's rankings because they don't have team sites. They tried to have team sites 20 years ago. It didn't work out. So they just started rating players. And they are attached to the Under Armour All-American game, which means they're attached to the Under Armour Combines. So the ESPN rankings are just as relevant as the On3, as the 247, as the Rivals rankings. ESPN having him at 58, that is off of him being at the Under Armour All-American Bowl a year ago. They think very highly of this player. Now, we talked to Mike Espy, who said that Shea Hodge said Xavier McDonald has a chance to be the best player to ever come out of Morton High School. We talked with the Florida Football Scout about that. I don't know about that. Is he going to be better than Shea Hodge? Maybe. He still has some work to do to get there, though. But the other player is Deuce McAllister. And I don't know if anybody can get around Deuce McAllister. He's just an elite football player. So we'll see. There's several other players that are getting ready to commit. They might not commit on the 4th. But if you look at Craig Tutt, Jet Goldsberry, there's a lot of 4-stars that are coming up in the next couple of weeks that can commit to Ole Miss. Now, another player that is going to commit today is probably Nolan Wilson. And when Ole Miss got Landon Barnes, that might have made getting Nolan Wilson a little bit tricky. Now, the other thing is he's been an Alabama guy since pretty much the beginning. Even though that Ole Miss might have turned his head, you still have to deal with the fact that Alabama is out there. And Picayune High School, I'm telling you, Picayune High School is just a weird place for Ole Miss traditionally. It's just they have trouble getting players out of Picayune for whatever reason. So we'll see exactly how that goes for Ole Miss and how they handle it. Anyway, Ole Miss may not give us a depth chart, but we're building one on our own. Up next, the top 5 offensive linemen most important to the Rebels' success this season. Do not go anywhere. You know, we've all been there, logging on early and waiting forever for concert tickets to go on sale, only to lose your spot for a show you've been dying to see. That's terrible, right? Live music should be about making memories, not dealing with the stress of ticket shopping. That is where Game Time comes in. Game Time makes it easy to get concert tickets faster than ever. Prices actually drop as it gets closer to showtime, and you can save up to 60% off with killer last-minute deals. And if you're tired of endless scrolling, trying to find the best deal, Game Time Zone Deals pick the best seats in your section for you, so you don't even have to work at it. Take the guesswork out of buying concert and show tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONCollege for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem code LOCKEDONCOLLEGE for $20 off. Download Game Time app today. Last minute tickets, lowest price guaranteed. So we are to our final day. We're doing all of the offensive line at once instead of just by positions. We're getting ready to go. Next week, we will be doing W's and L's in this position. We're getting ready for football season as it's ramping up, and we're about a week away from SEC Media Day. So it should be a lot of fun one way or another. And also, as you can see right there, my Tigers are up there at the best record in the American League. Not saying anything, but that is the way it goes. All right. So the top 5 most important offensive linemen for Ole Miss in 2025. If they make the playoff, these are the most important offensive linemen. Number 1, Diego Pounds. He played a lot of left tackle a year ago. He is somebody that you could count on to protect Jackson Dart towards the end of the season. He kind of became the de facto left tackle after the injury to Jayden Williams. Diego Pounds has protected quarterbacks on the blind side at North Carolina. He is also the player that got moved out to the right side this year with a left-handed quarterback. So they're obviously thinking blind side when it comes to Diego Pounds. Diego Pounds is a really, really good athletic player that can serve on the blind side and pass block very well. I think that Diego Pounds mixed with the interior offensive lineman that we're going to talk about in a second is going to make Ole Miss a right side dominant team. Is going to make Ole Miss the ability to, take over the defensive line and go after their best. Patrick Kutas is the one we're talking about that. We'll get to him in just a second. But Diego Pounds on the blind side, if Ole Miss is 8-4, if Ole Miss is 7-5, Diego Pounds did not have a good year. If Ole Miss is in the playoffs, Diego Pounds absolutely had a good year for Ole Miss. Number 2, Jayden Williams. He is going to be in the left tackle position that he's been in the last couple of years, but he needs to stay healthy. I'll repeat that. He needs to stay healthy. Whatever he's done the last 2 years in camp, need to do something else this year because he has been pretty banged up and unable to essentially finish the season each of the last 2 years. Not calling him weak or anything like that. It's just a statement of fact. He needs to figure out a way to stay on the field, or else he will get passed by Tevez Williams or something. I think that's his name. Let's see real quick. What is his name? Terez Davis. Sorry. He'll get passed by Terez Davis if he cannot stay on the field. Jayden Williams, if Ole Miss goes to the playoffs, stays healthy throughout the whole year and locks down that left tackle spot, leaving Terez Davis the ability to kind of be the 6th offensive lineman, the versatility. There's a position at left guard. There's a position at right guard. Maybe you can find a player that kind of fits in all over the place, and Ole Miss has been known to do that over the last couple of years. So we'll see exactly how that plays out. Number 3, Patrick Kutas comes over from Arkansas via the transfer portal. He's originally from Memphis. He kind of showed out a little bit against Ole Miss in Oxford in 2023. He got injured fairly early in 2024. They shut it down. They absolutely shut it down, and he transferred out to get a little bit closer to home, likely. But Patrick Kutas manning the right guard position with a Diego Pounds, it is at least interesting to see what can happen. I talked about this being a right running dominant team. I think running behind Kutas and Diego Pounds, that's a pretty good way to make a living. So Patrick Kutas is the number 3 player. He has a chance to really stand out. Coming out of the transfer portal, he was the top interior offensive lineman at the time that he came out. And I think he ended up being one of the top ones out there as well. He is a better interior offensive lineman than anybody Ole Miss signed a year ago. And Ole Miss got the two guys from Washington that we were all excited about. Patrick Kutas is better than both of those guys. So we'll see exactly how this goes. He has a chance to hold down with Diego Pounds, the middle of that defense. And that combined with the center could be a kind of a thing that unlocks this defense. And the center is Bryson Sanders. He is the number 4 player on the top 5 most important offensive linemen of 2025. Bryson Sanders is a guy that is instrumental to this football team. Remember 2022? And Ole Miss did not finish very well. They started 7-0, ended up 8-4. And the reason that they struggled a lot was snapping the football. They just couldn't do it. There was lollipops going back to the quarterback. They couldn't run jet sweep. They couldn't time it up. There was no accuracy. There was no pace on the snaps back to the quarterback. And that caused the entire team to suffer because of it. If Ole Miss can snap the football with pace and snap it accurately, Bryson Sanders can do that. This Ole Miss offense has a chance to be very, very good. Remember, the center is the first person that touches the ball every play. His snapping will be instrumental for Austin Simmons. If Austin Simmons, for him to reach his potential, to reach what we all think that Austin Simmons can be, he first needs a snap and not having to drop his eyes down so much because he doesn't know where the football is going to go back. We need accuracy. We need pace in regards to snapping the football. If that happens, the rest of it is kind of gravy. So we'll see with Bryson Sanders, the offensive lineman out of the Baylor School in Chattanooga. The last one, somebody that's probably not going to start this season. I imagine it's going to be somebody like P.J. Wilkins over there, or maybe even Therese Davis. But Devin Harper is the top-rated lineman that Ole Miss has signed in like 5 years, a long time. This is a top 100 player that flipped from LSU shortly before signing day last season. Devin Harper has all of the skills that you hoped an offensive lineman would have. I am expecting, with that hole that's over on the left guard side of this team, that Devin Harper has a chance, a real chance, to show out and end up playing that position. Devin Harper is a very, very talented football player and somebody that you honestly don't really want to mess with, if we're going to be completely honest about that. He is a player that, in my opinion, has a chance to be a 3-year starter at Ole Miss if he stays all 4 years. This year is about acclimation, and then it's start. That is his arc, in my opinion. I think Devin Harper has a chance to be a very, very, very good player for Ole Miss this season. Coming up, we will talk about, in our final segment, this season is everything for John Garrison. After last season's struggles in the run game, will he be able to turn that around? We will talk about that next. John Garrison coming back for 2025 after last season. Listen, last season, Ole Miss didn't make the playoff because they couldn't run the football. That is the reason they were unable to win those games. Now, they shouldn't have been going for them in the beginning to begin with, but John Garrison running the ball in 2024, it was a failure. An absolute failure. Ulysses Bentley, the top running back, hardly ever played. They started a 5th-string wide receiver against the Florida Gators. The one time that Ulysses Bentley started, he had like a 70-yard touchdown against the LSU Tigers. The running game in 2025 was a problem, was a real problem. So in this season, what's going on, John Garrison has to turn it around. He does not have the leeway, the benefit of the doubt of what is going on. He does not have the ability to sit back and we'll see the way it goes. He does not have that benefit of the doubt with the fan base. If Ole Miss is 11th in the SEC, 12th in the SEC in running the football, the fan base will turn on John Garrison. And rightly, they honestly should, because the first 4 years under Lane Kiffin, they were either first or second in the SEC each and every single year in running the football. Last season, it was atrocious. And the reason it was atrocious was a combination of a couple of things, in my opinion. I think the offensive line got a little bit too big. They couldn't do all the athletic stuff that they were asked to do because they were just too big. You had 360-pound men out running around at offensive line, and in a zone scheme, playing at tempo, that can be problematic. I think Patrick Kutas is a test case to kind of make that offensive line a little bit smaller. The second thing is, after Quinshon Judkins went to Ohio State, Lane Kiffin and the personnel department, they panicked. They started taking running backs all over the place. Rashad Amos from Miami of Ohio, Henry Parrish Jr. from Miami, Florida, and Dominique Thomas from Georgia State, and Logan Diggs from LSU, honestly, as well, who just at that point had an ACL problem. 4 running backs got taken by Ole Miss after Quinshon Judkins left. And I'm not saying that they just went out and just grabbed this guy, this guy, and this guy. There had to be some evaluation that was taken, but they missed on every single one of them. Rashad Amos hardly ever played. Dominique Thomas played really, really hard. He was kind of the number 2 running back towards the end of the season, even ahead of Ulysses Bentley, the 4th. Logan Diggs played 1 snap or got 1 carry in the bowl game. He's finally back from the ACL. And Henry Parrish had that horrific injury against the Arkansas Razorbacks. It just didn't work out. Everybody that you would normally count on, it just didn't work out for whatever reason. This year, I think it is a more thoughtfully put together running back room. And the offensive line coach, John Garrison, he gets credit for the run game, for better or for worse. The run game production is going to directly reflect him. John Garrison at Ole Miss this year, Logan Diggs is going to be healthy. He just passed the 18-month mark after his ACL injury, and that's generally an 18-month injury. He had 1 carry in the bowl game. You can play after 5, 6, 7 months, but you're not right until after 18 months or so. Logan Diggs, I expect him to be right. Kewan Lacy was brought in to be the home run hitter, and they used him enough in spring on social media to where you actually pay attention to Kewan Lacy going into the fall. They used him a lot, and he also has a single-digit number, and you know my opinion about single-digit numbers. You don't give away the most valuable real estate on the team unless you are 100% bought in on the talent of a player. Third running back is Damian Taylor, running back that transferred from the Troy University, kind of some similarities to Rashad Amos. I do not want to put the cart before the horse on him because the talent, it might be there, it might not be there. We'll have to wait and see until after fall camp. And then Shekai Mills-Knight, the guy that was at the Navy All-American game, he's going to be a true freshman, but he was basically in charge of all the pass blocking and running the ball with his team at the All-Star game. And when a coach trusts you with pass blocking at an All-Star game, that generally means you can do it. And that means that he'll get on the field pretty quick as a true freshman. That is my opinion about John Garrison. That is what I think Ole Miss's run game needs to do. The offensive line gets a lot of blame, both fair and not. I mean, I do think they're a little bit big, but you have to remember with this offensive line, every play is a run block. So if they can't run the ball, that's on the offensive line a little bit, or the running back's not being able to pick the hole. But we'll see exactly how that goes and if John Garrison can turn around the run game. Anyway, I want everybody to have a happy 4th of July. Take some time off, get recharged. We're about a week away from SEC Media Days, and that is awesome. That is something we all look forward to. Thank you for making the Locked On Ole Miss podcast your go-to source for Ole Miss sports. We pride ourselves on offering the most comprehensive perspectives, which is why we are the front door of Ole Miss sports. Don't forget to subscribe, like, and comment. The show is and is always the most fun when it's completely free. And by subscribing and liking and commenting, you can help make sure that it stays free. For your second listen, check out the Portal Show. Brian Smith has the latest portal rumors, entries, and signings. Be the most informed fan on the rapid changes on the college football landscape. Find the Portal Show on YouTube or wherever you listen to podcasts. Hotty toddy, everybody. And remember, analytics is just the old English word that means bad football. We'll see you tomorrow.